Hello YouTubers, how you doing today? I thought I would do a quick little video, I hope it's quick, of my little tool I've came up with. Do you use slip knots for fishing? Well, I use them quite a bit. I finally got tired of paying the high prices of buying individual knots, and I start making my own. Well, at first it was a little bit tricky until I figured out a way of making a tool for myself with these items. Basically a paper clip and a pen. This pen, I robbed a bank. I took this pen from the bank. So what I use is this paper clip. I straighten it out to make this wire. And then I take the pen apart, save the barrel, and I save all my old pens. Once I use up all the ink, I end up with the empty ink reservoir barrel, the tube. It's a heavier tube than like a stirring straw you have in a coffee shop. So the pen barrel is used for the body, okay, of your tool. I've got hot glue for gluing the ink reservoir tube onto the barrel of the pen, and I use the paper clip to be shoved into the barrel to hold the straws that you're going to be tying the knots on. So let me do a quick demo. I think you're going to like this. This is pretty cool. First of all, you slip a straw, I don't know, that's about 3/4 of an inch, maybe 2.5 centimeters, and I shove it on there. Now the way this works is this paper clip wire has been bent with enough tension to push against the ink reservoir tube, and it holds it in place. Okay, it's pretty solid there. And not only does it hold that, but when I grab the thread, which I use fly line backing. This happens to be 20 pound. I wish I would have had 25. I like the knots a little bit thicker, but 30 pound was too heavy, so I just happened to be I happened to settle on this 20 pound stuff. As you can see, I bought this in 2015, so it's lasted quite a while. And as you can see, I make a lot of knots, and I have this film can full. And I have not only this one, I have 2 other cans full. I keep a can of these knots, full cans of these knots, in 3 different tackle boxes, so I don't have to worry about transferring them depending on which tackle box I grab for whichever trip. And as you know, at some point all fishermen go from being a fisherman to lure collector at some point. So let's do a knot here. I have the straw that the knot's going to be tied on right here, and it's shoved in between the ink barrel and the paperclip wire, and it's held in with a little bit of spring tension. Now, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to show you how to do this right-handed. I cut a piece of string which is just a little bit longer than the tube. Let me go down here so it's full frame. So it's a little bit longer than the tube. When you start out, I'd go with at least 9 to 10 inches so that you're not fighting, because one step of this process is a little tricky. Okay, you want to cut your ends real clean too, because at some point you're going to be shoving this tag end into this tube reservoir, and if it's frayed, it's going to be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to save that end. This end looks pretty good. Now, I hold it with my right hand, and I hold the 2 straws kind of horizontal to the ground, and I grab the yellow string, and I stick it right in between the 2 straws. Okay. So, as you can see, the straws are spring-loaded enough that it's holding pretty good. Now, I lay that tag end down, and I put my index finger over that tag end. I grab the other end, and my knots I tie 6 wraps. So now we do 6 wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and here's where I got into trouble. Let me redo that. I need more line here. I'm going to pull this out a little bit because you need just enough to get your 5 or 6 wraps. Like I said, I do 6. That's 4, 5, 6. And this is the part that gets tricky. I wet my fingers a little bit, and this is where you have to shove that end that's sticking out through the ink reservoir. Okay, and we're trying to get it in there, but it's kind of springy, and son of a gun, I made it too short. Let's cut a new one. Okay, let's not be chintzy here, and for the demo, you'll figure out what kind of length you need, but I went a little bit tight on that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, it's no big deal to start it. Now I'm going to shove that through there, and here's what I'm talking about. It's easier if you got a little bit longer length to work with. So now what you do, I pushed it through and I grabbed it with my middle finger, and I pushed it against the tube so it doesn't spring back. And as you can see, it is fairly tight here. Okay, now I've got the 6 wraps. I'm holding it with my finger, and now I put and I'm holding this tag end. This tag end is laid out real nice. I'm going to take my whole other hand and cover the wraps with my thumb and index finger, and I'm going to slide the straw and the wraps off. Okay, tool, we're done with the tool. Now I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to slowly tighten them up a little bit. And let's see, this is a little bit tricky too. Now see, I am tightening this up, and you could see you got to make sure you leave the wraps nice and flat so they're side by side. You tighten it up, boom, you got it. You got a brand new completed knot. And as you can see, it doesn't take long to do. I've tied several of these. You know, I could usually do about 20 and a half an hour once you get into it. And as you can see in these, after I'm done, I cut the line down to tag ends about, 3/4 of an inch, ½ inch or so, because that's all you need to when you're putting them on your actual line. And I save these tubes. I throw them back in the film can, so I keep reusing them unless they blow away. If you're in your boat or wherever. Now, that just shows you how easy it is. It's a simple tool. It's right size for holding it in your hand. And all you have here is the barrel of a pen, the ink reservoir tube, hot glued to the outside, and the straightened out paper clip. And here's what I did. I'll just show you real quick. Here's another empty barrel of a pen. And what I did is I cut that paper clip. I straightened it out first, and I made 2 halves. So you could make 2 tools with 1 paper clip. After I straightened it out, this was twice this length. I cut it in half, and what I did is I put this zigzag pattern on this clip, so when you shove it in, it's a tight friction fit. Now, it all fits in there real nice. I get my hot glue gun, I shoot it in there, inject it, and then I try to make sure that the edge of this lines up with the edge of that. So you have to bend the wire and have this little jog in the wire so that when you put your ink tube reservoir on there, you want it to be touching the paper clip. Okay, get some I use the tape, the masking tape, to tie this down, and I center it. Once I get it centered, and then I'll hot glue it around the barrel just along the front, because you don't want this tube to be too long. As you saw, I made a mistake the first time. I cut the string too long, so you make it shorter so you don't have to feed that line through that tube so far. Okay, so I've heat glued inside the barrel. I've heat glued this around, and you end up with this. And I just happened to find this really neat pen from Remax Realtor, and I thought that would be great because that'll show up in the tackle box or on the floor of the boat, or on the shore or whatever, and it makes a nice thing. But that's it. That's all there is to it. I hope you guys enjoy it. I thought it was a cool idea, and I saved myself a lot of money. This spool lasts forever. I think this spool line was like $7, so it easily pays for itself. These straws I grabbed from coffee stirrers or bars for mixed drinks. These I found, I don't know where I found them, but they are really nice. They're nice and stiff. They're not the cheap coffee ones. And that's it. So steal some pens. Save your barrels from, save your barrels from your pens or your ink reservoirs after they're empty. And grab a heavy paper clip and make yourself a slip knot tire. I hope that helps. Have a good one. Happy fishing. Good luck.